Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the first proper full review of the new year, and this of course is the high grade Build Divers or Jupitive Gundam, and of course that is from Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise. This, much like all the other Core Gundam boxes we've seen to date, is a different variant of the Core Gundam with some new armor. And of course the Jupitive Gundam is the space use version. But as usual, this video right here would not be possible without those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan. So if you do want a Jupitive Gundam of your own, check out that link down there in the description. Now here we go. So first off, there is absolutely everything that we get in this kit, and of course, as you would expect, that is a slightly new variant of the Core Gundam, the planet system once again, this time with the Jupiter armor. I will mention that this box does include all the weapons as well, so unlike the Mars 4 and the V2, we don't have to buy anything separate here, so it's more like the Earth 3, but a little bit more on the expensive side, reflecting everything that we have in here. Next up then, we have the standard armaments we get for the Core Gundam, which is the shield and the core spray gun, and then we have a whole bunch of effect parts, so some we've seen before, some that we haven't, but we will talk about those a little bit more later on. But all in all, so far, I'm digging this little set right here. Oh, I almost forgot, we get a stand in here as well. But let's start off with the Core Gundam. So this right here is what this version of the Core Gundam looks like, just out of the box and snapped together with a couple of the stickers for the eyes, nothing else, no extra effort. When we're speaking of the stickers, it's pretty much the same as we've saw time and time again with the other Core Gundam kits. That of course are the ones for the eyes, head cameras, and then we have 4 and 5 here. 4 of course is for on the planet system, 5 is for on the core spray gun. So there is a full 360-degree spin of this variant of the Core Gundam, and honestly, while this kit was coming out, I thought this was exactly the same as the one we saw with the Earth 3 Gundam, which isn't actually the case. For the most part, it is quite similar, but they have actually changed the red, the yellow, and the clear green on this. The clear green and the yellow are a lot brighter than before. The yellow looks like it's taken a leaf out of the Neon Granddaddy's book. And the red is that slight little bit, almost not noticeably, tiny degree lighter. So all in all, it is a little bit of a brighter variant of the standard Core Gundam, but it is not identical. So anyway, there it is side by side with Earth 3 Gundam, and as you can see, the yellow is a lot more intense here, the green is a little bit brighter here, and I'm not sure if it'll show up, but the red is that little bit lighter. And there it is side by side with the Neon Granddaddy from the standard series of Gundam Build Divers. So even though the yellow here is a little more intense than what we would have seen before, it's not quite as crazy as what's going on right here, but definitely brighter than what we saw before. So as for the actual equipment for using with the Core Gundam itself, we've got the beam spray gun once again. I will mention that I feel this is a shade lighter than the plastic we saw with the Earth 3, but I'm not necessarily sure. I think it might just be, but I'm not sure if it's just that the Earth 3 I've had has been on the shelf for a while, might have changed a bit in color, or if they are a little bit different. Not sure. But anyway, that just pops in there, and that is the beam spray gun. The shield in here physically is exactly the same as we saw before. 2 hard points on the front there. We've got the handle up top, and this little bit that flips out like so, which is a 3mm peg. That can be popped just into the hand like so, any way you want it to go. You also have the choice to use this little adapter around back up here for using that little flip out peg. And lastly, we've got a pair of beam sabers. They just pop off, just like so. We have 2 lengths of beam in here, but when it is Core Gundam, we use the short one, and of course that just pops into the hand exactly like you'd expect. So yeah, we've seen him multiple times before, that's enough about Core Gundam. Let's check out the different variant of the planet system. So there is the full 360-degree spin of the Jupiter armor on the planet system, and all I can say is without a doubt this is my favorite one to date. The white armor looks great against that bluish gray, it's got that awesome Gatling underneath, extra thrust up top, more weapons on the sides of it, as well as the feet on the back which can flip out for that extra thrust. All in all, this just seems like the coolest variant yet. Definitely looks like this right here is for space use. So the transformation here is exactly what we would have seen 3 times already with the Earth 3, V2, and the Mars 4. So that just means we strip all the parts off the planet system and then just reattach them all back onto the unit itself. It's very simple, effective, and easy, and really changes how the Core Gundam looks. This is one of the biggest, bulkiest variants of this Gundam yet. But like I said, the transformation is exactly like what we would have seen before. But there we go, that is exactly what the finished Jupitive will look like with all that white armor snapped onto the Core Gundam, and so far, that looks pretty awesome. There is the full spin of the Jupitive Gundam, and as you can see, they've added so much more mass to this than the other variants of the core Gundam. It's kind of got a bit of an X shape with those large, big old flared out shoulders. The backpack is awesome. I love the fact that it's just thrusters, and we've got some added weapons on the forearms as well. Big old feet on top of that, and all in all, this nice, wide, clean finish looks awesome. So there is the full lineup as it stands so far. Of course, that is the V2, Earth 3, Mars 4, and now the Jupitive. Each of which are a little bit different in their own ways, but at the end of the day, they're all pretty much the same. A lot of the armor parts are the same, there's just some varying parts that are different. For example, the feet, the backs of the arms, the shoulders, the crest on the head, as well as what's on the backpack. But for the rest of it, it's all exactly the same, besides a bit of a color swap. So I'm just gonna throw a poll up there right now. Let me know which is you guys' favorite one out of all of these so far. I'm not necessarily talking about in the show, I just mean model-wise. Let me know. So of course, it's not just the robot that changes in this mode, we also change the weapon. So we now have this part for using with the beam spray gun, which is this extra Gatling-like segment. So attach both of those together, as simple as that, and we've got the beam Gatling gun. So that right there is what it looks like attached to the Jupitive Gundam, and all in all, this makes the beam spray gun look like it means business. Pretty awesome. Of course, we also have alternate longer beam effects for using with the beam sabers, for using in this mode just like we saw with all the other versions of the core Gundam. Next up then, we've got the mana for bits. Bits are bits, I guess, like funnels. They can fly around on their own. There isn't actually a base or anything to attach these to display them deployed, so all we have is this 3mm peg, and we can use this to attach them onto the forearms of the Jupitive, just like you're seeing right now, or they can be popped up here into what I think are thrusters on the shoulders to act as shoulder-mounted artillery. So around back we've got these thrusters, which are referred to as the multi-container bits. So these can be used usually, like you can see right here, as thrusters, popped off the shoulders like this. This part then extends up, flips round, and then attached onto the rear of the forearm, just like so. So these right here have a bit of a crossbone Gundam type vibe because they do have multiple uses. Well, 2 uses. And the first of which would be to attach these beam effects into these holes here for what is essentially these beam knuckle dusters for some punchy action. Or by attaching these somewhat vigorous, I'd give them a 3 out of 10. But at the same time, child safe, no pointies. Up under these segments here like this and like this to form these pretty rad looking beam shields right here. Once again, these are bits, so they can be deployed separately, fly around, defend, etc. But this time around, unlike with these guys right here, we do have a 3mm hole in there, so you can attach that onto a sold separately action base to display them flying around and working defensively. That's pretty cool. And I have to say, I definitely love these. These look cool. So as for the articulation on this kit, I'm not going to go through it once again because I've done it before, but all I can say is it's not going to leave you wanting at all. You can get all the nice dynamic poses you want out of this. The only thing that is a little bit disappointing is the waist because it doesn't really do anything at all, but that does mean you do have the stability of that not doing anything at all. But it would be nice to have an ab crunch there, but we don't. But besides that, on the whole, it's awesome, dynamic, solid, and strong, so this is not gonna leave you wanting. But if you do want to know more about the articulation on this particular kit, it's exactly the same as what we saw with the high-grade Earth 3 Gundam, so you can check out that review for more information on the articulation. So anyway, that right there is it for the review. All I can say is this, once again, is a complete package just like the Earth 3 Gundam, so I say it is identically as good as the Earth 3, making this gold tier. Just in case you don't know by now, gold tier means this is better than I would expect from a high grade. Silver tier is average for a high grade, and I think this is much better than average. The whole system behind the core Gundam and the different planet Gundams it becomes is just so much fun, and they've adapted it into the kits perfectly. It looks awesome, it's simple, it's solid, the articulation is great, and nothing lets you down here. This version of the core Gundam is pretty cool. I'm not a major fan of the fluorescent colors used in the core Gundam, but it is nice to get a new core Gundam in here. And all I can say is the weapons in here are awesome. We get a lot of beam effects. If you love your beam effects, this is the one for you. If you like nice, clean, white armor on your Gundams, then this is the one for you. I highly recommend this kit. It's up there with Earth 3, if not a little bit better. But of course, the price does reflect that. But anyway, if you do want one of your own, there's a link down there in the description. You can get yours at HobbyLink Japan. As always, thank you so much for watching. Consider leaving a like. And as always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews. And I'll see you next time. Once again, all my thanks to each and every one of you guys. Whether you just watch the videos, like the videos, or support me on the channel memberships and Patreon like Craig Jury, Kaiser721, Forged Horizons, Bullwick, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhart, Halo Creator, and Hank Handsome.